Hey, welcome back, podcasters, to another episode of the No Comfort Zone. My name's Dan. I'm going to be your host. Listen, I'm super grateful to be named number 4 podcast on FeedSpot's top 100 motivational podcasts for men. Super excited that we got to that point. And it can't happen without great listeners like you. So do me a favor if you can. If you like this episode, like it, share it, comment, review it. But more importantly, if you can, share it with somebody who might need it. Because here's what I want for you. I want you to stop waiting. I want you to start acting. And I want to share with you why discomfort is a shortcut to success. Listen, if you're scared, I want you to take that first step. That means you're doing something good. You're going the right direction. That means you're on the right path. In today's podcast, I want to share with you how important it is, how crucial it is to start living your life by being a little bit afraid to take that first step. Let's get you out of your comfort zone. Let's start living on purpose. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard. Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
Welcome back. I'm super glad that you made it through that intro. I love that intro. I know it's long. I know, I might lose some people from that, but I absolutely love it. There's so many things that are said in that when I had him create that intro that are so important to me. It all matters. This is your reality check. Just absolutely love that intro. So I think you've probably heard it 564 times if you've listened to every one of these podcasts. I'm glad you're here. Let's take a moment, sit back, relax, enjoy the podcast. But I got to tell you, this one's going to take a little bit of action. I want to share something with you. Here's a quick quote, okay? This is part of a quote. Think about this for a moment. What stands in the way becomes the way. It's from Marcus Aurelius. And it was actually made famous in The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. So check this out. I leave the Marines and I get into car sales and I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified to get into car sales. But because I read that silly book, How to Sell Yourself by Joe Girard, I decided to get into sales. And one fear on top of another fear on top of another fear. I was absolutely terrified to greet people. But I was kind of motivated by money. I kind of wanted to do that. I didn't have a college education. I just failed a miserable job interview. I completely bombed it. Like a typing, which was what I did in the Marines, like a typing, accounting, filing type of job. I wanted just an office job. I failed it miserably. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I remember this guy told me when I was in the Marines, we were getting ready to process out and they were training us how to go from a civilian or from a Marine to a civilian. And I'm sitting there and it's a bunch of us kicking it, sitting out, during a break. And it was an all-day seminar that we had to go to in the Marines. And it was a really good one. It was at Quantico Marine Base in Virginia. And what this guy said was, he's like, what's up with you, man? And I'm like, just kind of nervous. I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to be a cop and I have to go through that process and I'm not sure if I'm going to get the job and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm worried about getting a job. This stuck with me, man, from 1992. He said, worrying is not going to help get you a job. That was super powerful. It stayed with me my whole life. I'm 55 now. And when I heard that, that was when I was 21 years old. It stuck with me. But here I am now on the showroom floor, and I chose a career temporarily. It was temporary at the time. And I'm terrified. And I had to lean into it. But because I was so fearful of it, I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want to embarrass, the people that I was around. But I was terrified. I was almost frozen with fear. It's almost like that fear of public speaking. I just leaned into it. So I just started to watch and observe other people around me. And then I realized that they're not I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I was judging, but I was like, I'm better than them, even though I couldn't greet people. I could be better than them. I just had to lean into getting over that fear of getting to know people. So I had to find ways to trick myself. So I would be walking. For example, instead of waiting for somebody to come to me, I would be walking around the lot in order to get in front of somebody, if that makes sense. I was always moving. And then I realized that once I got good at that, then I realized, well, I still didn't like really greeting people that I don't know. But then what I would do is I would work on selling cars to people that I already knew. And from that book I read, we're learning how to get repeat and referral business. And the only way I can get that is if I took really good care of them and respected and honored my customers, and then asked them for referrals later on in a sales professional type way. This isn't a sales podcast, by the way. What I'm telling you is I was terrified to greet customers, and I leaned into that, and I learned how to get better at it, which led me to the next thing. But I started to find these shortcuts, and I found out that the shortcut is actually the discomfort, if that makes any sense. Let me tell you another story. So I end up leaving Virginia, and I a bad relationship and a situation, and I did really well in sales, and I decided I'm going to go to Hawaii. That was nothing more than a goal, a deadline, picking up my stuff, checking out, moving as far away from Virginia as I could to Hawaii. And when I did that, I was trying to leave my addiction, just to put it all out there. I had an issue back then, and I wanted to get away from it. And I remember I was listening to the Tony Robbins CDs back then, and I'd listen to them and I'd take notes and all this stuff. And I thought I beat my addiction, but I didn't get to the core root of the problem. And I thought by changing my location, I would be in a better place. I would be successful because I'm living in Hawaii. But guess what? Wherever you go, there you are. I brought all of my baggage and all the garbage with me, and I just escalated it because now I had an inflated sense of self, because now I was in a different place, but the same version of myself. Here's why I say that. Just because I took a risk doesn't mean I learned. Now, in sales, what I learned is I had to lean into it. I had to face it. And by facing it and identifying that I had a problem with it, I was able to move forward and learn from it and grow from it and become better. And because of that, I was able to get repeat and referral business. If this makes any sense, man, you're awesome. But what I ended up doing was I developed a short career there, and I had people coming in and asking for me, and I did very well for myself, so well that I was able to produce enough income and savings to get divorced and move on and move to Hawaii and be able to live. My goal was to live 6 months without having to get a job, but things are expensive there, and I had to work that out. So it didn't last as long as I wanted it to. And it was a foolish move. I would never do it again, but I did it. Now, let's talk about some other things. When you face the fear, the death of fear is certain. I don't know whose quote that is, but you got to face your fears. But I'm not talking being risky, because being risky and not really having a plan is stupid. It's not a calculated risk. It's just being ignorant. And I've done that more so in my life than I can remember. But what I'm telling you is, and what I'm sharing with you is this: listen, don't let fear stop you from being the person that you could be, by being the person that you should live to your potential. Because you got to know this. You have to know this, that you're scared to take the first step. If you are, that's a good thing. That really does mean that you're on the right path. There are so many gigantic goals that I'm working with right now that when I started them, I was fearful. And they are in progress. They are in process. They are happening as we speak. And they're terrifying. They were terrifying for me. But I'm telling you this right now, from my heart to your head, to your ears, they're more terrifying if you don't take the first step. Because you live with it day and night. You got to know what I'm talking about. Listen, as a podcast listener here, my goal of this is to say this: you could be living better. You could be doing better. I know. I was that guy literally not long ago, let's say, 2006, checked out, completely done, completely, life is over, check out. I did not win this one. I won out. 2, I'm basically in my dream house. I'm basically with an amazing family. I've got great relationships. I know who I am today. And I'm telling you that you're going to have to face yourself. Listen to what I'm telling you. You got to face yourself first. And when you realize and you become aware of who you really are, who you truly are, what you're going to find out is that you're capable of just about anything. And it took me a long time to understand that I am worthy and I am worthwhile. But you got to have things like integrity. When you say you're going to do something, you got to do it. You got to be genuine. You got to be authentic. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to pay the price. You got to face your fears. You got to take a step in the right direction. And if that step that you take is a fearful step, you're doing the right thing. It's the right thing to do, because right when you take that step, most of the fear will go away. Might be a little uneasy, but most of the fear is going to go away. You can't live in your head. There's so many times and opportunities that I look back and I'm like, I remember when I was so afraid to talk to customers. And then next thing you know, I'm on a platform, on a stage, multiple cameras in my face, speaking to 300 people, getting paid to speak, to talk about sales training, management training, leadership training, and talking about process training and business ethics in the automotive industry. How on earth did that happen? Practice, drilling, and rehearsing over and over again. The Marines taught me that. You got to train and train and train and train and train and keep training and keep training and keep training. Why? Because, if it's fearful, you have to train your brain and your body to work together so that when shit hits the fan, you're prepared for it. You don't have to think anymore. You just go to it. Professional athletes do it all the time. Business leaders do it all the time. I know a lot of people that are miserable right now. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing, and they won't take advice. They won't listen to direction. And they're champions of the world. They'll tell you everything that's wrong with everybody else, but they won't look in the mirror and realize how almost cursed. They don't realize how screwed up they are. But then I put the blueprint in front of them and I'm saying, let's talk about your awareness level, about where you're currently at. This is your reality check. Where are you currently at? Let's go. Family. Not doing too good there, are you, Slick? Let's talk about your finances. You're not even paycheck to paycheck. You don't got a pot to piss in or when to throw it out. All right, let's talk about your physical health. Can't do that one either. All right. Here, let's talk about this. Let's talk about your career. What are you doing? What, your spirituality, non-existent? What kind of life are you living? Because if you're hoping, wanting, wishing, waiting for your life to change, you got to start changing, doing something in order for that to change. There's so much to say about getting on that hard path and how important it is to stay on the hard path, because the hard path is where it's at. I was the Johnny come lately. I was the easy way out. Let's take a shortcut. Let's figure out an easier way to get the hard job done. And I'm telling you, man, for me and a lot of other people, it doesn't work out that way. And if you're listening now, if you're out there saying to yourself, this is entertaining or whatever, look at your life. Look at where you're at now. This no comfort zone, the reality check of the no comfort zone, living on purpose, that's no joke. This is no shit. You want to live on purpose and you want to live with exactness and you want to call the shots. This is what it's all about for me. Awareness is step one. Recognize what you're avoiding. Between you and I, you already know what it is. You're dodging that phone call. You're dodging that person. You're dodging that tough conversation you need to have with your significant other. You just need to get brutally honest with yourself and with others. It's sometimes hard to do. I have challenges with that, but I know it's hard to do. But when you do it, the fear is in your head. Get out of your head. Just have that difficult conversation with love in your heart, right? Jesus loves you. But have that conversation in your heart that you know you're trying to do the right thing. You're not trying to be malicious. You're just trying to fix it. But awareness is step one. Step number two, decide. Stop negotiating with fear. Fear is a liar. Fear is going to send you all the wrong ways. Decide today that you're just not going to let it wait, stealing another week, month, year from you. It can't happen anymore. You can't put fear and just keep dealing with the fear, and negotiating. Just do it and push fear aside. An easy way to do that, take micro actions. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not one big leap. It's unstacking uncomfortable reps over and over and over and over again. In my case, it was writing the page, one page, another page, another page, another page, another paragraph, another sentence. Okay, tighten this up, edit this, edit. Writing is rewriting over and over again. It's a laborious, is that a word? It's a laborious task. But the hardest one, and I'm telling you, this is the hardest one, folks. The hardest one is to start. You just got to start. You want some goals achieved in your life? Just take a step in that direction. Write them down. Write them down. Write your goals down. I am going to accomplish this by then. What do you need to do? What's the first step you need to do? Start. Pick up the weight. Put on the gym shoe. Take a step. You gotta start. Hey, and if challenges come your way, reframe the obstacle. What is this adversity trying to teach me? This sticks in my head all the time. When I was playing the role of a little victim, I had to finally realize that I'm not being punished. All of the things that I've happened in my life and all the stuff, it's self-inflicted. Every bit of it. The addiction, the bankruptcy, the homelessness, the coma, the bad girlfriends, the good relationships that I've lost, the lack of seeing my kids, the emptiness, the loneliness, the depths of fear, the anguish, all of that stuff, the not wanting to live anymore, all that stuff. I've come to the reality a long time ago. I'm not being punished. I was being prepared. I don't know how far down the depths you are or if you're just average, but average scares the shit out of me. And it should you too. Because one step away from average is below average. And you know what happens there? Absolutely nothing good. Nothing good. Mediocrity is a terrible place. Because if you can listen to this podcast now, you've got a chance to be better than you currently are. You have a chance to one up. This whole podcast is about A to B. I was in position A and I got to B. I'm trying to help you go from A to B. Learn from your adversity. Learn from your mistakes. I told you about how I faced fear in the beginning. I just faced it. I had to face those customers. I had to practice, drill, and rehearse, till I was blue in the face. And next thing you know, I'm a paid speaker and getting paid pretty well to do it. Shit, now I've got a story to tell. Now I've got a huge story to tell. And you know what my biggest fear is now? Believe it or not, traveling. I don't like to travel. But this fancy little setup I got, I can actually speak to people all over the world now. I'm not a big traveler. I'm happiest here at home. I've traveled enough in my life. I really don't want to travel that much. But the reality is, I have to keep looking back on what made me me. Where am I at today? I was not being punished, just prepared. I want you to think about that where you're currently at now. And hey, I'm telling you this, I call it the secret weapon. And I've talked about this in this podcast till I'm blue in the face. If you want to eliminate any type of competition that you have, I don't care if you're a professional athlete. I don't care if you're in sales. I don't care if you're in upper management, middle management. I don't care if you're head of your household. I don't care if you're in the middle of your household. I don't care if you work at a barista at some coffee joint or if you're in a restaurant. You want to change the world, you start working on the 4 E's. You bring energy to your effort You create excitement around your next move. You let enthusiasm fuel your results. You stay engaged by focusing on what's in your control and watch what happens. You got to start serving people. This podcast will help you become a better person, because becoming a better person helps you serve more people. That's it, folks. Mic drop. That's what this podcast is all about. Become a better version of yourself so you can help better serve more people. People got problems. People got a ton of problems out there. I'm like, when I was doing the whole thing early on in this podcast, it's sad that I have people that are around my life that are not doing so well. It's sad to me. They don't need to be. Will they take advice? Nope, they won't. Do I give them advice? Of course I do. But after a while, I become annoying. Could you imagine living with the no comfort zone guy? Not anybody here, but my family gets it. My son gets it. Wife gets it. Daughter gets it. I think most of my kids get it. I hope they're not annoyed with it. My son just recently had a lacrosse game, and they went to sectionals and they lost. And at the end of the game, he's gotten a lot bigger. He's a pretty big kid now. Muscular, he's pretty fit, pretty athletic. 15 years old. He was walking off the field, one of the first ones off after he team huddled. And he came over and he actually was weeping from the adrenaline and from the loss. And I was not embarrassed that he felt that way, because I know he put every single thing he had on the field. I see him in the backyard when he does his 100 reps, how he's practicing. I see what he does and how he does it. I see his mental acuity. I see the passion he has for the sport. I see how hard he's working. I see how often he's working, the consistency. If I had that at his age, I would be in a different environment. I wouldn't have had as much adversity. To have that at his age is amazing. So to have that defeat, it hurt. Let me ask you a question, listeners. What do you have that you're working so hard for that if you didn't get it, you would feel upset about? You would be devastated. You would be, man, I missed it. Because if you don't have something like that right now, you're not really living. And that's good news. That means you can actually start living. Because I'll ask you, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? What would you do? What could you do? Man, it's okay to be afraid. But it's not okay to be fearful for the rest of your life and you don't accomplish anything. You could go ahead and live an accomplishment. You can. You just got to take that first step. Comfort can be so seductive, but nothing good grows there. So here we are at the end of the podcast. I want you to stop listening and start doing. Today, write down one thing that you're avoiding. Just one. Just the one thing. Now schedule it. Do it today. DM me what it was. Tag me when it's done. We can build momentum together. You want to go deeper? Hit me up on social. Listen, life is so precious. Your goals, when you have them, are precious. There is no need for you to, when you look at your life and go, okay, where's my finances at? Where's my spirituality at? Where's my relationships at? There's no need to go through that and feel embarrassed about it, because you know where you're at. What's a shame is when you don't do anything about it. That's what the real hard part is. That's where the comfort is. Just not living. Get to that point where you can look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to start living with passion. I'm going to start living on purpose. What could you do if you knew you couldn't fail? There's so much going on today in your life that you can take control of. Remember, if you're scared to take the first step, that's good. That means you're on the right path. Just remember that. I'll end with this. It's that same quote I talked about in the beginning. What stands in the way becomes the way. It's from Marcus Aurelius. I totally enjoyed doing this podcast with you today. I hope you got something out of it. There's a lot of tidbits in there. But more importantly, here's what I want you to do. I want you to realize this, that you are worthy. You are worthwhile. If you've got fear, lean into it. Take the first step. If you don't have any fear in your life, it's time for you to get some fear. Today is the day. Start thinking about what you want out of life. Start thinking about those things that you know you could have out of life. Start thinking about who you could be, what you could have, and what you can do. Write it down as a goal. Write it down as a business plan. Write it down as a mission statement. Put it on a vision board. Keep looking at it every single day when you get up with passion and with purpose. And then realize, come to the reality of this, that if you want those things, you're truly going to have to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.